Well, did you know that October is Audit Leader Month? October is Audit Leader Month. So, what does that mean? Well, it means that there's going to be lots of opportunities for audit leaders this month. And that's what I want to talk about in today's video. I understand what it takes to be an audit leader. And when I say audit leader, I'm talking about managers, directors, vice presidents, and chief audit executives that work in internal audit. It's a tough job, because a lot of times challenges come from things like your team, your peers that you're dealing with, navigating some of the cultural and political things in your organization, really developing your own leadership skills so you can develop some of these soft skills that are so important for you to be successful as an audit leader. Now, how do I know that? Because I have been an audit leader several times. And I've also been coaching and mentoring chief audit executives for the last 15 years. So I'm somebody who's been in that role and continue to help out. And I've been doing it for a long time. Now, I realize that a lot of internal audit training is very technical in nature and often doesn't really relate to the challenges audit leaders are dealing with. And so because of that, for many years now, I have been curating a lot of different opportunities for audit leaders. When I first became a chief audit executive, I was pretty young. I was good at audit. Technically, I was good. I was okay at relationships, but I made a lot of mistakes because there were certain things that I didn't know. And so what I have done since that time is look at ways for helping audit leaders so they don't make the same mistakes I did, right? And a few of the mistakes that I made almost were career limiting, right? And I don't want other people to be in that situation. And so, as I said, that's why I have, curated a lot of different training and programs and other opportunities for audit leaders. It's why I've been facilitating the Audit Leader Forum since 2018. So, and coaching audit leaders really for 15 years as well. And so today I want to share with you about Audit Leader Month and why that is so important if you're an audit leader. Again, if you're a manager, a director, a VP, or a chief audit executive, why it's so important for you. I realize that you don't get a lot of love. So C-Risk Academy this month is going to give you a lot of love. What that means is I'm going to share with you over the course of the month a lot of different opportunities, and you can even save 25% on all of the things that I'm talking about this month. Now, I've shared a little bit in the description associated with this video that shows you some of the different options, but I wanted to just go through and take some time today to talk about each one of them so that you know what's available. A lot of times if we don't know what we don't know, and so that's why I'm here today to help share with you some of these opportunities. Because chances are, if you are an audit leader, at least one of these is something that you really want and need at this particular time. So let me go through and talk about it. So the first one is the Audit Leader Forum. And for a lot of people, this may be new to you, right? Because I kind of joke, it's a new opportunity for audit leaders that's been around since 2018. So what does that mean? Well, I have been facilitating and coaching high-level chief audit executives in a premium version of the Audit Leader Forum since 2018. So I've been doing this for a while. That's 8 years now, or 7 years, almost 8 years that I've been doing this. And what I have done recently is created a new membership opportunity for people really from manager and above. Right. So in the past, it's been limited to only chief audit executives, but now there's an option for anybody who's a manager and above, right? Because managers and above are dealing with a lot of the same kinds of issues. And so if you remember, I told you, right, that I had made some mistakes in my career early on. And so, one of the things that we talk about in the Audit Leader Forum is some of the leadership and communication tips, some of the culture and politics things, for people to help avoid. And, it's something that I have created and have been running now for quite a while because, when I was a chief audit executive and I got myself in some of these problems, I looked around for some of the other opportunities that were out there, things that might help me. And the problem was I didn't find anything that actually fit the needs that I was having at the time. And so, after I left the corporate world, I still noticed that nobody was really serving audit leaders in the way that I thought it could be done. And so I created the Audit Leader Forum. And so, as I said, it's an opportunity for a lot of different things, for you to be able to have. So, what are some of those things, right? Well, there's some simple things that people want: updates, best practices, tools, resources, mentorship, group calls, peer networking, and one-on-one coaching. And you actually earn 24 hours of CPE each year, right? So it's something that is, and all of these things are specifically designed for the needs of audit leaders. And so, I'm excited to share, like I said, that now we have a new membership option, which opens it up so more and more people can actually get the value that high-level CAEs have been getting since 2018. So let me just talk briefly about what it is, right? And again, some of you, if you've been familiar with the Audit Leader Premium that I've been running, some of you may say, "Oh my gosh, I can't afford that," right? Well, this new option, guess what, is only $3 a day. $3 a day is something that anyone who is a manager and above can actually afford to invest in themselves, right? And really, you can't afford not to invest in yourself. And so here is a low, investment point for you to be able to get all of those things that I was talking about. Now, what is it in a little bit more detail? Well, there's monthly group calls, which means that you have an opportunity to get on calls virtually with people 12 times a year. Every month, there's a set, call where we get on and we talk about, take things from the floor, things that people have questions about, things that they're dealing with. And we go through and talk about that. But we also talk about some of these leadership principles, because I've got a whole toolkit of different leadership tools and tips and tricks for people to be able to use. So that's one thing. You have consistent monthly opportunities to meet with other audit leaders. And again, it's not, just online, you put comments back and forth. You're actually talking to other people, right? And that's a much better communication means for a lot of the things that you are dealing with than just putting comments or chats on social media. Now, what else is there? Quarterly one-on-one calls, which means once a quarter, you have an opportunity to talk to me one-on-one about whatever you want to talk about. So if you want to treat him as mentorship, in helping you kind of get to your next position, if you are dealing with specific things in your job and you'd like a little guidance, you'd like to bounce ideas off of someone who's been there, done that, then you have an opportunity to do that. And again, that's all included in this. I told you there's 24 hours of CPE, the updates, best practices, resources, and tools. There's leadership training. And again, this leadership training is a little bit different because, I paid $50,000 to get leadership training. A lot of you don't have that. And so I share some of the things that I've learned, those leadership tips and tricks that typically only high-level executives in the corporate world get access to, right? And that's, again, it's one of the areas where as internal auditors, we often don't get very much information on leadership. And so this provides you with that. Now, there's networking, resources, education, these things called lessons from a CAE recording. So these are some interviews that I've done with chief audit executives over the years. And so it's a way for you to kind of see what made them successful and be able to decide if that is something that works for you. Now, in addition to all this, there's a huge, extensive self-study resource library as well. And so effectively, by being a member of the Audit Leader Forum, you have this huge resource library of all the different things that you may be dealing with, right? And they're all, listed by topic. So again, depending on what it might be that you're dealing with, there's probably a resource out there that can help you 24/7, right? Or again, like I said, you can always wait, talk about it on one of the group calls, or you can always, have an individual session with me. So that's the Audit Leader Forum, right? And again, as I said, it's over 5,500, over $5,500 worth of value that you get access to for only $3 a day. Now, $3 a day, what is that? It's less than a cup of coffee. If you go to Starbucks and you buy, just a large regular coffee, nothing in it, it's going to cost you more than $3, right? And so, as I said, this is something that, for only $3 a day, you get access to all of this. Now, also, you don't have to pay for the whole year, right? A lot of programs or other things make you pay for a whole year, but you can pay a quarter at a time. If you do it for a quarter, you don't like it, you don't have to renew, right? You're not locked into something for a whole year from a subscription standpoint. So, as I said, now, I could act like an infomercial, so I will a little bit here, right? An amazing value of over $5,500 for only $3 a month. But wait, there's more. Because it's Audit Leader Month, right? We're actually offering a special that's only $1 a day, $1 a day for your first quarter. So if that sounds of interest to you, as I said, there's links in the description here that you can go out and register and take advantage of that opportunity for only $1 a day, your first quarter. You can always reach out to me if you have questions as well. So that's one of the things, right, that is here in Audit Leader Month. Now, another one, the Certified Chief Audit Executive certification. This is the only certification that's actually designed for chief audit executives to help you prepare for that role. And for those of you who may already be in that role, to learn some things that you usually won't learn anywhere else. In fact, I created this certification course and I used, my own experiences and the experiences of others in, going through this and talking about exactly what it takes to be a CAE and those things that you normally never get told, right? I tell you these things in the CAE course. And as I said, it's also certification, which means, again, it's something you can put on your resume. If you're getting ready, if your next logical step maybe is to become a chief audit executive or head of internal audit somewhere, what better certification to have on your resume that'll stand out, against the other competitors than having something called the Certified Chief Audit Executive certification on your resume. And again, it's 25% off during the month of October. Okay. Some other things, I just did what was called the Audit Leader Summit, where we spent 4 hours going through talking about some different topics that were of importance now. It also includes 2 hours of an ethics training specific for internal auditors. So with that, you can also earn your ethics hours for the year. Now, this was something that we did. It was a live presentation that we did actually last week, but now the recordings are available. And so you can still earn CPE. You can still gain access to that information when you register now. And again, it's 25% off during the month of October. What else? Well, there's some other certificate courses, one on internal audit management and one on internal audit strategy. Those are, again, options for people who are interested in improving and thinking more strategically, and for people who, again, want to have a certificate on their resume that shows, hey, I know what it takes to be an internal audit management. Okay. And then the last couple that I want to talk about today relates to culture, politics and executive presence. And so let me talk about what those terms actually are, right? Is as I told you at the beginning, a lot of times the challenges that internal auditors deal with, it's not about technicalities. It's not about how to do the audit. It's not about, what audit steps to complete. It's not about understanding the controls, but typically the challenges come from things like internal politics, right? Dealing with peers in your organization and understanding how to strategically position internal audit within the culture and political environment that you're dealing with. So I created a 3-hour course that actually talks about how to navigate some of these cultural and political issues in your organization. And again, that's 25% off this month. The other one, executive presence. So what does executive presence actually mean? Well, you can tell, there's certain people probably in your organization that when they walk in the room, they just kind of command the room, right? People respect them, people listen to them, they get things done. And I call that executive presence. And again, this is a skill. You can call it a soft skill if you want to call it that. But it's something that most internal audit leaders never learn. They never get taught how to do this. And so a lot of times we sit there and think, oh, well, they're just born that way. Well, they're not born that way, right? Nobody who you look at and think is a great leader was born that way. They got trained how to do it. They practiced how to do it. And over time, they developed into having this executive presence. And so again, I created several years ago a 3-hour course that helps you talk about executive presence and how to improve your executive presence. And again, just like everything else I've talked about, it's 25% off during October, which is Audit Leader Month. Now, as I wrap up here, again, it's like this is not intended to be a sales pitch, right? To twist your arm and encourage you to go out and buy all these things. But it's an opportunity for me, again, just to share with you what some of the opportunities are. Because each audit leader has different challenges. Each audit leader has different things that they need to work on. Each audit leader has different strengths that they can develop more, right? And so all I'm doing here is providing you with opportunities, letting you know some of the opportunities that are out there. Now, I hope, right, that if any of these things resonate with you, that you'll decide, you know what, I really need to get into the Audit Leader Forum. This is something I need. Or, you know what, I really would like to have that recording from the Audit Leader Summit. Or, I really know that I don't have that executive presence. I feel a little timid. I feel nervous every time I go in and do certain things, right? And so if any of those things, are resonating with you, then again, it's just an opportunity for you to invest in yourself, because that's really what personal development is. It's an investment in you. And I know a lot of times, we like to look at things and call, what's the return on investment? Well, I promise you that from a return on investment standpoint, everything I have talked about today will come back to you multiple fold in your future earning potential. Guaranteed. But it's not even about ROI when we're talking about personal development. It's ROIME. ROIME. Because really, whether you realize it or not, every investment that you make in yourself is one of the greatest investments you can ever make. Now, how do I know that? Well, not only from the way that we feel, right? And I'm moving from maybe a place of fear and anxiety to confidence, that in and of itself has a huge emotional, but it also has a huge physical impact as well on your health. And so, think about anything in the personal development space as a return on investment in you, ROIME. Look, I'm getting a return on me. And when you do this, and again, I told you I've been doing this for 15 years of coaching people. When you actually invest in yourself, you will see the economic benefits in the future as well. And these economic benefits can be huge, right? It can be going from maybe an audit manager who's earning $150,000 a year to being a chief audit executive earning $350,000 a year. $200,000 a year salary increase over the course of your career. A lot of these things that you're learning and a lot of these things will help you literally to earn millions of dollars over your career. But again, you have to believe that. You have to commit to a return on yourself in order to get that benefit. But as I said, I have seen this from people that I've coached for the last 15 years. I've seen it in my own career as well. So I'm going to wrap up for today. But again, just as a reminder, it's Audit Leader Month. So if you're an audit leader, woo, right? Congratulations on being an audit leader and in having one of the toughest jobs in an organization. And I just want you again to know that I love you. I'm here for you. I shared with you some different opportunities that are available, things that I have curated over time. And again, it's all here to help benefit you so you don't make some of the same mistakes I made earlier in my career. So with that, I'm going to wrap up for the day. There are links in the description associated with this video, but also if you have any questions or need to reach out to me, please do so, and I'll see you on the next video.